by Ciccarelli right up at the face area, and now comes down on the back of the neck. And finally another one before he drops his stick.
In hockey, some players stand out as figures both revered and reviled. Renowned for their mastery in unsettling opponents, they earn a reputation as notorious shift disturbers. Brad Marchand, Corey Perry, and Tom Wilson are all players that come to mind. However, none of these guys were as dirty and as skilled as the player we're going to be talking about in today's video, boys. Beneath this player's level of controversy, there was a skillful artisan of the game. He ended his career with more goals than the likes of Guy Lafleur, Matt Sundin, and Mike Modano. Despite being one hell of a goal scorer, this player is mostly remembered for the dirty plays and handful of off-ice antics that were made along the way. Despite polarizing opinions, this individual commanded a level of respect few could deny, owing not solely to his ability to provoke, but also his undeniable talent on the ice. Today, boys, we're going to talk about the intriguing dichotomy of Dino Ciccarelli, and we're going to talk about how one of the dirtiest players the sport had ever seen was also one of the best goal scorers of his era. Throughout his 19-year pro hockey career, Dino Ciccarelli left an indelible mark as both a prolific goal scorer and a formidable opponent as an agitator. Despite his small frame, he possessed a remarkable ability to navigate through defensive lines and unsettle goalies with his precise shots. By the time he was 15, Ciccarelli was a member of Sarnia's Junior B team. In his first season, he would lead Sarnia with 45 goals and 43 assists for a total of 83 points, a feat he would accomplish in just 40 games. His play in Sarnia ultimately led to interest from the London Knights of the Ontario Hockey League. In his first year with the club in 1977, Ciccarelli had 82 points in 66 games. In the playoffs, he secured a whopping 11 goals in 24 games as the Knights lost to the Ottawa 67s in the Robertson Cup Finals. At just 17 years old in 1978, Ciccarelli led the Knights and the OHL in goals with 72, and he also added 70 assists. Injuries limited Ciccarelli's season in 1979, but he still scored 19 points in the regular season and 8 points in the postseason for London. Throughout his time in London, he also gained a reputation as a goon, with 191 penalty minutes over his 4 seasons of junior hockey. Despite finding success at the junior level, Dino was overlooked and went undrafted not once, but twice, and many people believed he was just another player who had a high output in the juniors, but wouldn't be able to transfer that success to the NHL. He also suffered a broken leg when he was 16, so many viewed him as possibly being injury prone. However, one team took a chance on Dino. He would sign as a free agent with the Minnesota North Stars in 1979. I went 2 drafts without being picked up, probably because of concerns with my leg and my size, said Ciccarelli. It was like no one wanted to buy a horse with a broken leg, but the North Stars gave me an opportunity, and I was going to make the most of it. Dino wasn't the biggest guy by any means, but he had a unique style. He embodied the perfect blend of speed, sharpshooting prowess, and tenacity, earning him a reputation of being sweet and nasty. If he was on your team, he was sweet, but if you were playing against him, boy, he could be a nasty prick out there. To provide Ciccarelli with more ice time, the North Stars opted to keep Ciccarelli with the team in London during the 1980 season. His response was crazy as he amassed 103 points, including 50 goals, along with an additional 8 points in the playoffs. Notably, Ciccarelli's jersey number 8 would actually be retired by the Knights, cementing his status as one of the best players the Ontario Hockey League had ever seen. Towards the conclusion of the season, Minnesota transferred Ciccarelli to the Oklahoma City Stars of the Central Professional Hockey League. After the brief stint with Oklahoma to end the 1980 season, where he recorded 5 points in 6 games, Ciccarelli made a significant impact, tallying 57 points at the start of the 1981 season. And finally, with 32 games remaining in the NHL season, the kid who went undrafted twice, the kid who would never make it because he was too injury prone, known, was finally about to get his shot. The North Stars promoted Ciccarelli to the parent club. Dino Ciccarelli concluded the remaining games of the regular season with the Minnesota North Stars, swiftly proving his worth and causing teams to rue their decision to overlook him in the draft. He amassed an impressive 30 points in 32 games, including 18 goals. However, it would be in the playoffs that he truly made his mark, grabbing the attention of the NHL. As the 81 season came to an end, the Minnesota North Stars went on a magical run all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and Dino may have been the biggest reason why. Ciccarelli demonstrated his skills by accumulating 21 points in 19 games, which is a record for most playoff points recorded by a rookie, a record he still shares today with the likes of Jake Gensel and Sabres legend Ville Laino. This is impressive, but it was even more impressive that all of this was coming from a player who wasn't even expected to make the NHL. Despite his notable play, the Stars ultimately fell short in the Stanley Cup Finals against the New York Islanders. In the 1981-2 season, Minnesota faced a setback, exiting the playoffs in the first round against the Chicago Blackhawks. Nevertheless, Dino Ciccarelli made a resounding statement, leading the team with an impressive 55 goals and achieving a career-best total of 106 points, as well as recording 138 penalty minutes, just for good measure. His outstanding play earned him a spot in the NHL All-Star Game, where he notably set up the Great One. Over the following 2 years, Ciccarelli consistently contributed over 70 points each season, while adding a healthy amount of penalty minutes as well. His remarkable ability to position himself in front of the net, despite enduring physical challenges from defenders, earned him a reputation for grit and determination. Ciccarelli's relentless play garnered significant respect from both his teammates and peers in the hockey world. For the moment. After enduring several challenging seasons marked by injuries, Ciccarelli staged a remarkable comeback as his offensive force in the 1986 campaign led the North Stars with 44 goals and 89 points, proving once again that when he was healthy, he could put up just as many goals as anybody else in the league. Despite all of his efforts, Minnesota continued to fall short in the playoffs, losing to the Blackhawks in 83, the Oilers in 84, the Blackhawks again in 85, and the St. Louis Blues this year in 86. The following 1987 season saw Ciccarelli once again at the forefront, leading the team with an impressive 52 goals and 103 total points, marking one of the highest points in his career. However, the following season, an extremely embarrassing controversy would forever change the public's perception on Ciccarelli, and his off-ice reputation would take a massive nosedive when he was arrested in December of 1987 for indecent exposure to a neighbor and her son. Not in a weird or predatory manner. My dude just loved to be naked, and his neighbors just happened to see him on multiple occasions. Just 8 weeks later, Ciccarelli found himself in trouble yet again, this time for his conduct on the ice, an incident that unfortunately remains a significant part of his legacy. In a game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, Ciccarelli viciously attacked Maple Leafs rookie, current Blackhawks head coach Luke Richardson, violently hitting him over the head with his stick multiple times. The incident would lead to Ciccarelli receiving a $1,000 fine and a charge of assault, resulting in a night spent in jail. However, reflecting on the altercation years later, it all made sense to nobody but Ciccarelli. Ciccarelli remarked that Luke Richardson is 6'5", I'm 5'10", and he cross-checked me in the hockey pants. I thought I broke my ribs. I looked over at the ref and there was no call on the play. I guess the Italian blood just came out of me. And showing just how elite Dino Ciccarelli had become, despite the very weird year, he still led the North Stars in scoring, tallying 41 goals and 86 points, proving that the Italian blood not only made him insane, but it also made him insanely good at finding the back of the net. And unfortunately, in 1987 and 1988, the Italian blood was not flowing through the Minnesota North Stars lineup, and they unfortunately failed to to qualify for the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. However, in 1989, the North Stars showed signs of improvement and were well poised to make a return to the playoffs after a 2-year absence. During the season, Ciccarelli earned his third All-Star Game appearance, reaching 74 points. Nevertheless, fans were stunned when the North Stars traded Ciccarelli and defenseman Bob Rose to the Washington Capitals in a blockbuster deal that sent Larry Murphy and Mike Gardner the other way. Now a member of the Washington Capitals, during the 1990 season, Ciccarelli had an impressive performance, scoring 41 goals and tallying 79 points. He further showcased his clutch gene in the playoffs by recording a hat trick, contributing 3 goals and an assist against the New Jersey Devils. However, in May of 1990, Ciccarelli faced controversy when he, alongside several Capitals teammates, were accused of assaulting a woman outside of a bar. Although the case was eventually dismissed, local authorities indicated that they had significant evidence to suggest a possible occurrence of assault within that group. Ultimately, nobody was ever found guilty of any crimes. It's innocent until proven guilty, and it should always be that way. But it was still a terrible look, and it gave people even more reasons just to hate Ciccarelli. Sorry, I felt like I had to talk about that. Despite facing challenges due to injuries in the 1991 season, Ciccarelli rebounded the following year with a strong performance, notching 38 goals, a team high, and 76 points. And at this point, Dino Ciccarelli was well regarded as one of the most hated players in the league, off the ice and on the ice. But through all of this, you could not deny that he was a natural at finding the back of the net. He had God-given goal-scoring abilities. After being eliminated by Lemieux and the Penguins, that was it for Ciccarelli in Washington. In the summer of '92, he was traded once again, this time to the Detroit Red Wings. He had a typical season upon joining the Red Wings, making an immediate impact, playing a career-high 82 games and recording 41 goals and 97 points. This marked his highest points total in almost 10 years, back when he was with the Stars. Ciccarelli continued his consistent performance over the next 2 years, totaling 100 points across the 2 seasons. He was a part of the '95 Red Wings team that finished first place and made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. However, the Red Wings were shut out by the New Jersey Devils in a 4-game series, marking another disappointing loss for Ciccarelli in the Cup Finals. The following '96 season, the Detroit Red Wings achieved an impressive feat, winning 62 games, setting an NHL record for the most wins during a regular season at the time. Ciccarelli contributed with 43 points during the season. Despite the regular season success, the Red Wings faced heartbreak once again, this time in the conference finals, in a banger of a series against the Colorado Avalanche, where a player just as dirty as Ciccarelli single-handedly sparked one of the biggest rivalries hockey had ever seen with one of the dirtiest hits hockey had ever seen, pretty much dismantling poor Chris Draper's face in the process with one of the most brutal hits from behind we would ever see. And Ciccarelli would famously let everybody know just what he thought of Claude Lemieux in the post-game interviews.
I can't believe I shook this guy's friggin' hand after the game. That pisses me right off.
Sadly, Ciccarelli would never be a part of the Red Wings teams that would end up getting their revenge on Lemieux and the Avs. And after the season concluded, Ciccarelli's journey continued as he was traded once again to the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for a 4th-round pick in 1998. And in his first season with Tampa, Ciccarelli showcased he was still an elite scorer, putting up 35 goals, including a memorable hat-trick against the Penguins in November. He also earned a spot in the '97 All-Star Game. However, halfway through the 1998 season, Ciccarelli was traded to the Florida Panthers. Unfortunately, injuries began to take their toll on Ciccarelli's performance. He struggled to replicate his earlier success, only scoring 16 goals that season. His woes continued into the following season, with injuries limiting his playing time and Ciccarelli managing only 7 points. It appeared as though age was finally catching up to Dino Ciccarelli, with Father Time staying undefeated and injuries hampering his ability to compete at the highest level. Dino Ciccarelli made the difficult decision to retire from pro hockey once the 1999 season concluded, bringing an end to his illustrious 19-year career in the NHL. From going undrafted twice twice to having a 19-year career in the NHL, Dino Ciccarelli will go down as one of the most polarizing figures within the NHL. With 608 total goals, yes, 608 total goals, 592 assists, and 1,200 total points, he established himself as one of the most prolific goal scorers in hockey history. He went to the finals twice, but he ultimately never got that Stanley Cup ring. He participated in 4 All-Star games. He will also go down as being one of the dirtiest players to have ever played the game, racking up 1,425 penalty minutes. He was suspended for pushing an official. He was suspended for using his stick as if it was a weapon. He received the ultimate honor when he was voted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2010, 8 years after becoming eligible. And that, my friends, was the story of Dino Ciccarelli, one of hockey's dirtiest players and one of the greatest goal scorers the NHL has ever seen.